And so, my people, we have officially reached 200 chapters of Black Clover. And just to do the, celebration and all, let's take these off, shall we? As we now enter, as I said before, 200 chapters of Black Clover. This is me, the angry anime fan, the despair reviewer. And what can we say about this chapter? Well, it wasn't bad. It was definitely not bad. Actually, there is some unfulfilling emotions, but that maybe is because I don't like the pacing. The pacing is considerably slowing down a little bit. But that's to say that this chapter had more on the emotional value. And actually, finally, someone said the one words I actually been trying to say. I mean, you can say what you want about Asta. Yes, he has an annoying voice. Yes, he is very short. And yes, he screams a lot. Although technically a person being short shouldn't actually be wrong with it. I mean, some people are short, some people are tall. Some have angst to that. It's just that Asta sometimes matches the stereotypical portrayal of, short and hot-headed person. And they always have a loud voice and stuff like that. I mean, it's this typical shonen trend. So what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that while Asta have a lot of stereotypical through the character that he was, it is nothing wrong with that. But what I can say that makes his character very good is that he is actually the one who, while he may not forgive someone, he's actually the one willing to punch a person just to say, oh, quit your whining, quit being so full of despair. I am who I am. And if you have any problem with that, then we will confront this problem together. Not a cynical view on this all-loving hero instances. More of the fact that, will you quit being like that? I am here to talk to you right now. So yeah, the angry anime fan, the despair reviewer, here to tell you this. Now, finally, on to the chapter. First of all, Raya is slowly losing consciousness, but the one who begins to heal his wounds is Mimosa. Actually, I had a very strong suspicion that she would. And actually, here for the first time ever, Raya actually admits that Mimosa looks a lot like Tata. I've said that before. Mimosa looks strangely a lot like Tata. I mean, that's not so strangely. We can all but guess now that Mimosa is descendant from the first Magic Emperor. Granted, however, we don't know how many royal families are descendant from him. In fact, we don't even know which one the Sylvia family is descendant from. But who knows? They may all be descendant from the first social magic emperor. Because if you think about it, it wouldn't surprise me if he had many wives. Nobles tends to have a lot of families, after all. Not to mention their obsession with pure bloodness. It wouldn't have surprised me if they had kissing cousins moments at all. In fact, that also creates another spin on the scenario if it happens that Asta is related to the first Social Magic Emperor. The ship-tease, although I would say, come on, they are so far apart it's not even blood-tied. Enough about that. So Raya curses a little bit about this, but it is what it is. As Nocel prepares to execute Patri, it's Asta who stops him, and Juno points out, also by the way, his tattoo has actually changed now. He has some kind of spiral there, but for some strange reason his hair is no longer white. Maybe it's because he's not in his self mode anymore. So, and he actually says that it is Captain Vengeance, different. So Asta is gonna try to free Patri's soul. So he uses the sword, and a very large amount of anti-magic or whatever comes out, and he actually sees the memories of Patri. It seems to actually be likely that when Asta uses this, dispelling sword, or whatever its name is, I mean, I know it's not the dispelling sword, demon cleaver sword or something like that, dweller sword. What I'm trying to say is, for some strange reason, every time he uses it, he seems to be connected to a person's emotions. I don't know why, you tell me. So he sees Patri's fragments of his heart, including the happiness and the tragedy, as well as the hate and even the time when the first Social Magic Emperor was killed. as we finally see the real Patri sitting beside a wooden tree, that is William. He has an heroic, not a heroic, a villainous BSOD, where he actually wonders what everything I did wrong. But he also says that we can never see eye to eye, basically saying he's conflicted. So Asta does confront him, confirming that yes, he does not like him. After all, everything he has done, killing the Sorcerer's Emperor and threatening so many innocent people, Asta cannot forgive him. However, he does say that they in a way are kindred spirits, because as much as Patri has grown, it is not so safe to assume that he is still just a helpless, defenseless kid. The devil said it best himself, a naive little kid loved by mana. And yes, he didn't age, because after all, his soul died at that age, so he would never physically age, and he was so consumed with hate. So it only makes sense that Patri has been a child all this time. So, and the fact that he has been deceived, Asta could detect his emotions doing that. But he does say that while he won't forgive him for everything that happened, he does say him that don't you dare give up, don't you dare run away. And of course Patri has another villainous breakdown. So Asta screams to him that you have hurt so many Inikin's pieces with your reincarnation, so I can never forgive you. But he also believes that you're in a very sorry state, and if there's something you have to do it now. So don't you want to stop the real bastard that has been the result of all of this? And it also says that even if you weren't chosen, even if it wasn't what you wanted, even if you won't be forgiven, at least see through this to your pathetic end. So Asta is saying a little, I mean, this is very difficult to put it in words, but he's saying a different twist of this moment. He doesn't forgive him. He never will forgive him. But it does say to him that don't run away and be drowned away in your sorrow and die thinking you can escape your sins. Confront your sins, even if you won't forgive. But also realize that quit living in the past and living with your whining. You have to confront it here right now. So, and Asta says that I'm gonna be Sorcerer's Emperor, so I'm not gonna give up on your eyes either. Which actually triggers Patri's words they remember from the first Sorcerer Magic Emperor. That is Asta for us. A true loving hero. Yes, he does say he won't forgive, but you don't have to be all loving to be completely forgiven. Granted, the trend for those kind of characters is to always be forgiven. But a real all-loving person also, well, not a real, but another all-loving person doesn't forgive, but they also allows a person to not forget, meaning that running away is also a way to not atone for your sins. Killing won't make them atone either. Live and atone for what you have done, because Patri was used, and he has been slave to his emotions ever since. So he has done unforgivable things too. So Asta is saying that he has to confront this and realize what he has done. And that seems to resonate, as the dispel is actually changed. However, Patri's soul is not actually released. It is actually, he brought back the real Patri. He has actually dispelled the dark elf curse that was placed on him. As now Patri seems to be half elf, half dark elf, because his other eye is still dark. I guess that is meant to show that he still is fueled with hatred. So, so in the end, Asta and Patri turn out to become, well, frenemies. They both hate each other. Asta hates Patri for having killed the first Sorcerer's Emperor and for having hurt so many innocent lives. Patri hates Asta for being an mana-hating, loudmouthed brat, as well as one who preaches the things he threw away a long time ago. But there's no denying that they can understand each other anyway. So that is a pretty strange thing. The antagonist of the story is now going to help the others. But we now see what happened to William Fregnan's vengeance. I mean, he is sigilled in what appears to be an Yggdrasil tree. And Patri was sitting right beside him. And here we actually saw the real Patri, not the liched face that he has been using. If you ask me, I'm still pretty pissed off that he has liched face. Actually, why does he have liched face? We know the devil reincarnated him, but it's still not exactly an answer why he has liched face. I wish he could switch back to his real one. So yeah, this is Asta's character. He's far from my favorite, but I had to admit, when he actually says the things I want to say to people, like get over it and help and move on. So we'll see what happens, won't we? Because in the end, no side is right, and that is what makes this very wonderful right now. No side are correct in what they have done, which is why they must live and understand each other. And in fact, the color page here was pretty amazing. It detailed what may have happened if the elves didn't get killed, living beside the orphans of Hagi village. Can you imagine what would have happened? So yeah, more on the emotional side. So despite the pacing, all good, but you can give me your faults if you have any. And because now we have 200 chapters.